Hello, this is another part in a series of programs produced by this, your City of Tampa television station, documenting Tampa history. My name is E.J. Sacines, and today's program concentrates on the legacy of the oldest of the mutual aid societies, el Centro Espanol, the Spanish Club of Tampa. Tampa's mutual aid societies have existed for almost 125 years. Their clubhouses are architectural treasures and are listed in our National Registry of Historic Buildings. Today we will talk about the oldest of these institutions, the Spanish Club, known as the Centro Espanol de Tampa. It was founded by immigrants from Spain on September 7, 1891. These immigrants were here in Ybor City to establish the cigar industry. Their leader and first president of the Centro Espanol was Ignacio Aya, who together with his friend and competitor, Vicente Martinez Ybor, had brought their big cigar factories to Tampa just 5 years before. Ignacio Aya's factory, the Sanchez and Aya factory, had the distinction of being factory number one because they had produced the first cigar ahead of Martinez Ybor factory. The Spaniards wanted a clubhouse where they could network and socialize, relax, and share fellowship with others from Spain. 186 charter members pledged $10 per share of stock, and that helped finance their first wood-frame two-story clubhouse with two twin wood towers on land donated by their first president, Ignacio Aya. By 1892, they had the first Centro Espanol building on 7th Avenue and 16th Street. Their membership grew quickly, and soon they realized they had outgrown their clubhouse. The first wood clubhouse was demolished in 1911. Their new second building would be red brick with a beautiful architectural design with the front entrance archway resembling one of the famous arches of the Mezquita de Córdoba in Córdoba, Spain. That was located at the same location where the original clubhouse had been. The clubhouse had become the social and cultural center that provided leadership in the community for many years. By 1913, the new clubhouse was in full use and the membership was at an all-time high. Not only was a new building inaugurated in Ybor City, but another clubhouse of the Centro Espanol was underway in the neighboring city of West Tampa. That was another beautiful architectural masterpiece. It was referred to as the Palace of the Centro Espanol in West Tampa. It had been guided by another cigar manufacturer called Angel Cuesta. His partner was the mayor and former city councilman in West Tampa, Peregrino Rey, of the still famous Cuesta and Rey cigars. That building is on the corner of Howard Avenue and Cherry Street in West Tampa. And across the street of that Spanish club in West Tampa is the city park named Rey Park in honor of Mr. Cuesta's partner, West Tampa Mayor Peregrino Rey. Tampa's immigrant colony had grown so much that our port was soon recognized as the Ellis Island of Florida. Not only did the Spanish Club provide recreation, theater, cultural events, education, and library, they realized they needed to provide hospital and medical facilities for their members, as well as cemeteries. Soon, another Spanish club was formed called the Centro Asturiano, with a large number of Spaniards from the northern province of Asturias. They were proponents of building a hospital for their members as well as a social club. We'll talk more about that club in another program as part of the series of Tampa Treasures. So the Centro Espanol acquired land in the northern part of Ybor City on 21st Avenue between 25th and 26th Street, and that became the cemetery of the Centro Espanol. At about the same time, they acquired land on Bayshore Boulevard, south of Bay to Bay, and built a beautiful state-of-the-art hospital that served not just Spaniards, but all others who were members of the Centro Espanol. They called their hospital sanatorio. In English, it's sanatorium, meaning a place for healing, to make you healthy again. By 1905, Tampa had two Spanish hospitals, the Centro Espanol Sanatorium on Bayshore and the Centro Asturiano Hospital on Ola Street, not as large, but serving their members until 1927, when the Centro Asturiano completed a larger, state-of-the-art hospital on 21st Avenue and 13th Street. These mutual aid societies provided social interchange among its members, but also provided what we call today HMO facilities, as well as cemeteries, coverage from cradle to burial. As a typical mutual aid HMO, the Centro Espanol, or the Spanish Club of Tampa, also provided a walk-in clinic for their women and children. They called that one La Benéfica Española, with its own pharmacy, located on the second floor of the beautiful building on the corner of 15th Street and Palm Avenue. As telephone service grew, that pharmacy medical clinic became the telephone center to dispatch the physicians serving the Centro Espanol membership, making house calls, and in case of emergencies, directing the ambulance to their Bayshore hospital for surgery or urgent hospitalization. The Centro Espanol of Ybor City, as well as the Centro Espanol of West Tampa, hosted separately in their respective buildings their spring and fall Sunday picnic. These were lunches that were followed by great musical presentations. Two orchestras, one downstairs with Latin music, and the other orchestra in the upstairs ballroom for American dance music, with an American dance band, with dancing till early evening. Of course, the next day was a work day. Some local musicians became so popular and were so gifted that they went on to play in some of our nationally famous orchestras. And many of these great orchestras played here in our Spanish clubhouses. The social clubhouses of Centro Espanol of Ybor City and the one in West Tampa also had theaters for entertainment. The Ybor City Clubhouse had the Casino Theater, and the West Tampa Clubhouse had the Royal Theater. After all, their West Tampa building was referred to as the Palace, or El Palacio, therefore their theater was royal. As sound started to become more popular than silent films, the motion picture industry became a favorite form of entertainment. And the same was true in the Spanish language cinematography. The Casino and the Royal Theaters had both English language films and Spanish language movies produced in Spain, Mexico, Cuba, and Argentina. The Spanish-speaking people of Tampa were as familiar with the American movie stars as they were with the Spanish movie stars. Periodically, these movie stars would be traveling through the United States and were hosted here in West Tampa and Ybor City, and Tampa long was recognized as a multicultural center. Tampa was truly a multilingual community where English and Spanish were dominant, but Italian was not far behind. And you could also hear German and Gaelic, Greek, French, and Yiddish. You could hear these in the streets of Tampa. Live theatrical performances were commonplace on Sunday evenings. Remember, there was no television or radio programming or even sports events to entertain the public back then. During the Second World War, movies in these theaters was interrupted by short programs urging the citizens to buy war bonds and USO efforts to help our servicemen and women. After the Second World War, local talent shows became very popular. And once a week in the theaters of Ybor City and West Tampa, neighborhood talent performed, and once a year, the winners competed in the downtown theaters for the best in the city, or the county's top entertainer. The Centro Espanol had burial sites for its members for more than 110 years. Their two cemeteries are sacred ground to the memory of the immigrant colony of Spaniards and their children and grandchildren. The first cemetery was and continues to exist on 21st Avenue in Ybor City next to the Italian Club Cemetery and sharing land with the Armwood family burial sites. The first cemetery is divided into 4 quadrants with a center canopy, a cupola, built early on by Domingo Rañón of the Rañón and Jimenez Construction Company that still exists today. His children served the club loyally, and Domingo Rañón's grandson, John Rañón, an engineer by profession here in Tampa, is its current president. The new Centro Espanol Memorial Park, that's the name of the second cemetery that was needed by the Centro Espanol, and that one was inaugurated on Lake Avenue near Martin Luther King Boulevard in the immediate vicinity of Garden of Memories Memorial Park and Myrtle Hill Cemetery. The new Centro Espanol Cemetery also has a modern mausoleum and the bust of a historic figure that served with distinction as the director of the Centro Espanol Hospital, Dr. Mac R. Winton. The bust had been on display at the Centro Espanol Hospital on Bayshore for many years. La Benefica walk-in clinic and pharmacy and the Bayshore Hospital were closed when a more modern Centro Espanol Hospital was built in the early 1970s in West Tampa on Osborne and Howard Avenue. That too came to a close in the 1990s as membership plummeted. The 2 clubhouses in Ybor City and West Tampa were sold, and the Centro Espanol built the West Tampa Convention Center on Columbus Drive between MacDill and Gomez Avenues. This facility existed some 35 years until 2012, a history of almost 125 years of service to our community, and a lasting legacy to the presence of Spaniards in our community. We hope you've enjoyed the program. My name is E.J. Sacines, and we're all grateful to this City of Tampa television station for producing these documentaries that introduce you to Tampa's treasures.